The year is 1944. For 4 long years, Europe has been breathing under the heavy boot of occupation. From the freezing fjords of Norway to the sun-drenched coasts of France stretches what Nazi propaganda called Festung Europa, Fortress Europe. At the heart of this fortress stands the Atlantic Wall, a formidable barrier built from millions of tons of reinforced concrete, barbed wire, and hidden artillery batteries, waiting for any attempt at a seaborne invasion. In absolute secrecy, within the smoke-filled rooms of London and the field headquarters of southern England, 2 men carried the weight of the entire free world. Dwight D. Eisenhower, a man from Kansas with a steady hand and nerves of steel, and Winston Churchill, the lion of the British Empire, who still remembered the bloody trenches of the Great War. Look at these maps. They are not just drawings on paper. They are the destinies of millions. Eisenhower knew that if this operation failed, there might not be another chance for years. He wasn't just planning a battle, he was planning the future of civilization. Churchill, on the other hand, watched the English Channel every night, knowing that the sea which had protected Britain for centuries would now become a mass grave for her sons. Look at these harbors. Portsmouth, Southampton, Poole. The English coast was transformed into the largest weapons depot in human history. Every square meter was filled with tanks, trucks, amphibious vehicles, and tons of ammunition. We see these steel beasts, the Sherman tanks that would soon have to plow through the sands of Normandy. But behind that steel stand men. Young men from Brooklyn, London, Ottawa. They lived for months in these improvised camps. They prepared their vehicles, cleaned their rifles for the 100th time, and checked their gear. The air was thick with the smell of diesel, salt spray, and uncertainty. The logistics of Operation Overlord were so immense that southern England was literally sinking under the weight of the army. Every crate you see in this footage, every fuel canister, was a piece of a puzzle that had to fit perfectly on the dawn of June 6th. This wasn't just a war machine, it was an entire city preparing to sail into the unknown. As Europe fell into its final sleep under occupation, the sky over the Channel suddenly boiled over. These are the C-47 planes, the Sky Trains, carrying the elite in their bellies, the 101st and 82nd Airborne Divisions. The silence of the night was shattered by the deep, rhythmic hum of thousands of engines. The paratroopers sat in the dark, faces painted black, with equipment as heavy as they were. Many prayed, many were silent, while the waves of the Channel churned below them. When they crossed the coast of France, the sky turned into hell. Look at these flashes. That is flak, the German anti-aircraft defense. Every tracer in the sky was death searching for its target. Planes danced through the fire, many crashing in flames before the doors could even be opened. And then the green light, a jump into the dark, into chaos, into the unknown. Many landed miles from their objectives, in flooded fields where they drowned under the weight of their gear. Others found themselves alone, armed only with a knife and a cricket clicker, searching for their comrades in the French hedgerows. This was the moment the invasion began, not with ships, but with these lonely warriors falling from the sky. Dawn arrived with a cold wind and a grayness that hid the horizon, and then they appeared out of the mist, 5,000 ships, an armada such as the human eye had never seen before. Soldiers in the landing craft listened to the shells from the battleships passing over their heads like freight trains, but when the ramps dropped, the reality was worse than any nightmare. Omaha Beach became a slaughterhouse. Look at this footage of the chaos, soldiers throwing themselves into neck-deep water, trying to find cover where there was none. The sand disappeared under artillery explosions, and the air was filled with the whistle of thousands of rounds from machine guns.
Here you also see those who didn't make it to the shore, boats capsizing, men struggling with the waves while being pulled down by their equipment. We see their comrades trying to pull the wounded from the icy sea foam while the battle rages only a few hundred yards away. That was the price of victory. Every meter of that beach was paid for with the life of a young man who, just a week ago, was writing a letter home.
By evening, the beaches of Normandy were secured, but the smell of gunpowder still hung in the air. Look at these columns of captured German soldiers. Among them, there is no longer the arrogant gaze of the Superman of 1940. They are tired, dusty, and defeated men, slowly boarding the very same ships that brought their downfall. The Atlantic Wall has been breached. As the prisoners vanish into uncertainty, the true strength of the Allies now rolls onto the beaches. Look at these tanks and heavy vehicles descending the ramps without resistance. The beach has now become a giant port. Engineers build roads over the sand, fuel flows, and the army regroups. Normandy was just the first step. Ahead of them are months of fighting through hedgerows, towns, and forests, all the way to the heart of Germany. But this day, June 6th, changed everything. These shots of the army marching into the interior of France are shots of hope. The road was long, bloody, and difficult, but there was no turning back. Freedom had once again stepped onto European soil.